Hey, it's Holly. In today's video, we're going to get back to some figure creation because, quite frankly, I've been having a lot of fun with it. I really was happy with how that last figure turned out, even though it was a bit of a struggle to get there. I feel like we've learned some things. There's probably more stuff that we can learn, but I'm excited about it. So I think I'm going to do a bit more of these videos, but of course also toy tours and all sorts of other stuff. But I read your comments. I have taken some of your inspiration from what you suggested. So today we are going to be working on starting 2 more figures. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, hi friends. So I'm gonna take Pluto's suggestion from the comments, and I figured we could make some fairy Polly Pockets. I'm gonna try to do like a butterfly wing. Now, of course, there are fairy Polly Pockets already figures, but those have a fabric wing, and I thought, let's try doing one out of epoxy. So these were the 4 figures that we had worked on last time where we got them primed up. These are our previous figures that didn't paint up so well, so those are primed for new paint. But before we paint, I figured we would get the, just making sure all the joints are good there, we would get the epoxy going. So I'm going to be using this again because it worked really well. I also have this liquid Sculpting stuff. I've never used it, so I don't know how well that works, but we're gonna try this. So I'm gonna pop some of this out. So again, this is a 2-part epoxy putty. And the point with this one is that you mix these 2, and when you mix them, they start to harden. So they are separate until, and don't harden until you mix them. Gosh, they all have stuff going on. Stuff stuck to them. Whatever, we'll go from the top here. So I'm just gonna snip off. This is probably already too much, but whatever. So this one is made by the Army Painter. It's called Green Stuff. It's made for doing stuff like Warhammer figures, but why not? Same idea. So we'll get these combined. So you just work these together, and that starts to begin that chemical reaction when the blue and the yellow, it's very neon though, it's almost green, mix. And so once they form that solid green, then you know you've got a good base. So I think we will start with this. Tina is cute. And we had previously fixed her up with some of that. So if you can see here, there are some spots where she was missing a few chunks of her body. So we fixed her up before we primed her, just so that she looks a little bit more consistent and cleaned up. Okay, just being thorough mixing this so that it doesn't have really any striping in it. You want it to be well mixed to be as effective as possible. So with this, I'm just gonna make 2 little balls here. Just trying to get roughly the same amount. That's always the struggle. So I was thinking of doing you know, like a typical butterfly-like wing with these. Now, something I've yet to locate, but I know I do have, are some tools for clay, and I previously used them for polymer clay, like oven baked clay. So I do have some of those around, but unfortunately I don't know exactly where they are right now, so we'll make do with what we've got. So I'm just going to use the tools I have and just kind of shape things as best I can. Now, I think I would also like to make an accessory for her. And I'm thinking like a little flower crown. I'm not sure, I would like it to be separate. Not sure if I'll be successful, but I figure we can try. How am I here for being somewhat consistent? We can work with that. Of course, easier said than done when this stuff is very sticky. And another way you could go about this, of course, is making stuff like this with polymer clay and then adhering it with the epoxy. Would probably be the easiest way to do this, because this stuff, it really has the consistency of like chewing gum, so it gets stuck to you quite easily. But okay, I think these are just too big. This is just one of those videos of me struggling. Okay, so I have another idea. Now I'm going to pull her legs off. Hopefully I don't break them. There we go. Did not. Mount this right on her back. I'm going to just form it here, and I think that's going to be easier. And I'm just being sure to pull it away from the body once I've got it formed, because I only want it to be attached really on the back. And of course, we don't want this to block the joint at all. That is also important. Now, once this is on there and it's dried, we will be able to file it down. And trim it a bit, so it does not need to be 100% perfect. But I would like to get that shape pretty darn close. Okay. Really, I feel like after this I would be highly qualified to do statues out of chewing gum, which is disgusting, but that's effectively what I'm doing here. So I would say probably a polymer clay would work better for adding some details, whereas this is great for adhering things and getting some things fixed up. So if you need to fix a seam or something doesn't work out in the process of molding, but it does work for this in a pinch. Okay, it's starting to look pretty good. Just gonna make sure I've got it pulled away from her body, because I don't want it to be completely stuck on the body. I want it to look like there's a little bit of movement in the wings, so they're coming back from the body a bit. She's looking pretty darn cute there. just being extra cautious to make sure that I don't have any of that in the joint, because her joint is working great right now. Now this made me think of, I should really do some Sailor Moon ones, because my daughter is currently just obsessed with that aesthetic of Sailor Moon, so she would love that. So this is my problem, is I'm a little bit OCD. Okay, that is looking not too bad. Just tuck this one in a bit. Now, once this dries, we're gonna have to polish it down a bit to smooth it out, but there's her wings. So I've got them coming off the back a bit there, right? So that it looks like there's a little bit of movement happening. It's cute. I love that. Looks great. Okay. So we're gonna let her dry with that. Now for a crown, I just wanted a flower crown. This one might be a bit hard to do on Tina, but we'll try it. Well, that didn't work. Let's try again. Okay, that's immediately better. I'm just gonna put it down. I'm going to just try to make it a little bit more oval than I normally would, only because I'm gonna try to fit it over her pigtails at the end of the day. And we don't know if this will work, but we'll try it. Okay, let go. There we go. I think that's kind of the shape we want. So I might need to do this in a few parts, but I was thinking of just making a bunch of little leaves and then sticking those on once they've dried with just a little bit more green stuff. Really, I would describe this best as bubble gum. It really is. It's so sticky. It's not for sculpting the way that I am using it, but we're just doing the best with what we've got here. Now, once we can guarantee this fits her, I'm gonna put more green stuff on this once this has dried, and I figure we can sculpt some flowers out of it. But since we've got that one going, why don't we try to quickly sculpt this one into a Sailor Moon type figure? My daughter is just obsessed with drawing pictures with where characters have like long pigtails, this whole meatball hair that Sailor Moon has, you know what I'm talking about, with the big tufts right up by where the pigtails come out of the head. So we'll try to mimic that a bit. I'd like to surprise her with this. I think she'd find it amazing. This side is a bit stickier. But I actually like the way that turned out. I'm going to take a little bit off of this side here. I could just use a little bit in here. course, we can always refine this a bit more once it's dried, but I just want to get that shape in there. And there's those two, what I like to call the meatballs of her hair. Just kind of quickly look up what she looks like there. Yeah, so she does have bangs, which this figure does as well. Just gonna smooth that in a little bit. She's looking pretty good. So we can add some more details to her outfit in the next video, but we'll get them dry and then we can start to paint them up in the next one and add a little bit more detail to them, I think, but it's a good place to start. So they're both looking pretty cute. We're gonna let those dry and continue from there. So that's where we'll end it for today, but always fun. And I would say, yeah, if you're gonna try this, probably use polymer clay to make this stuff, and then this is great for adhering those two things together. That would work really well. But when it comes to actually sculpting, this is not the best material to sculpt with. It's more for fixing and yeah, I would say adhering and fixing things, but it's getting the job done. So there we have it. So we'll leave it there for today. But again, if you've got more ideas, drop them in the comments. I'm having a lot of fun making these. Well, it does feel like chewing gum. I'll be honest, it's not great to mold with those, or that material, I should say. But it's getting the job done. And if you let it kind of sit for a little bit, like you get it there and then you let it sit for like an hour, you can come back and kind of fine tune it once it's hardened up a bit. But it takes a full 24 hours to properly cure. So it really does take a whole day. So you can't like get it all done immediately. If you wanted to do something like that, polymer clay would be the best thing, I think, for that, because you could mold it, bake it, and probably super glue it. But again, I personally probably would use the epoxy because it works really well for just getting everything fit together really nicely. So it's not the perfect material for sculpting, but it's working for us for now. So I'm gonna keep doing it. But I would say that, yeah, if you really want to get into it, polymer clay is probably the way to go with it. So that was the start. So we've got those two. We've got the fairy going. We've got the Sailor Moon going. I hope my daughter loves it. I'm whispering because I want to surprise her with it. So hopefully she loves it. But maybe we should do a compact. What do you think? Like a whole Sailor Moon compact. I think that'd be fun. We could make a little Luna too. It'd be really fun. But I'll put that on the back burner for now before I get too excited. I have a lot of things that I want to do, and the struggle is I don't have a lot of time to do them, so but that's where we are for today. So we'll come back and we'll work on that again. As I said, I'm going to keep doing toy tours. I also, though, want to just remind you that I'm going to be doing a Q&A to wrap up the year. So this is the end of calendar year 2 of the channel. We haven't fully been around for 2 whole years, but this is the end of calendar year 2. I would say we're at about 1 3/4 now, which is amazing. Thank you to everyone who's been here, especially those of you that have been here for a really long time. Pretty much down right at the beginning, a few of you. And I really appreciate those of you that are leaving likes and comments on my videos. Really helps out boosting the channel and getting more eyes on it, and growing our community. But also, if you haven't yet, the easiest way to support the channel is just to subscribe. It's free to do. I bring out new videos every Monday and Thursday, and you will get notifications. So that's the best way to do that. If you're on social media, you can also follow along there. I'm not great at social media, I'm just going to be honest with myself, but Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you can find me. Just look up Pocket Vintage Toys. That's the best place to connect with me outside of YouTube. But that's it for me for today. So I'll see you in the next video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we are going to get back to that figure making in the next video, so be ready for that.